Hi, I'm Arshana from Arshana's Kitchen. Today, I'm not going to be making a recipe for you, but instead speaking to you about mindful eating and eating in the right portions to keep good health. This is something that I learned very late in life, and that is eating in the right portions because I was always a voracious eater, which essentially and that's actually an understatement for me because back in my times, when in my younger days, I know I would be able to eat like 10, 12 idlis. A three-course from sambar rice, rasam rice, curd rice, and ended up and with lots of vegetables that goes into my diet, or 5, 6 parathas and sabzis and salads, and my appetite was like really voracious. And this was until my children were born, right? But at the same time, my activity levels were very high. I was extremely active. I used to play tennis, run a lot. However, recent times have changed completely. A lot of times I spend on my desk. I do exercise and work out more, but the availability of processed foods and ingredients and the ability to order restaurant food at the click of a button, everything has become so convenient and easy, right? So what has happened is, and this is purely because of the lack of time and also the ease of access to such foods, that we start tending to consume such processed foods more into our diet. But staying healthy is extremely important, and the more processed foods and we consume, and the more restaurant foods that we consume every day, there's a lot of impact that comes into our body, and that is something that we need to sort of think about. We do a lot of lifestyle related diseases, from obesity to deficiencies in certain vitamins and minerals, to diabetes, to thyroid, and lots of other things that are related to food and the lifestyles we lead, right? So I've been thinking and working on all of this for many years now. For close to about 3, 4, 5 years, I've been working on seeing how can we sort of change the way we eat based on our lifestyles. I'm going back just and rewinding it a little bit, to give you a context of how our bodies are actually designed to sort of reject food and say we are actually done. Starts with babies. So let me give you an example. When babies are born, they only drink milk as much as they need, and the moment they're full, they would just sort of put the bottle away, or they will not drink any milk, or they spit it out, and they would sort of, you try to feed them their vegetables and the dal and the rice and the soups that we give them, and they would probably eat only as much as their stomach can hold. And the moment we try to feed excited mothers like me, or all of us, for that matter, try to keep saying, no, you need to eat more, this is not enough, one more spoon and one more roti, and we sort of keep sort of working on them, and they don't take it in very well, and they would spit it out or they vomit, and that's it. So that's their body's way of actually reacting and saying, we're actually done, please don't feed us more. And when I was bringing up my children, I actually followed that thumb rule. Never, if they were done, they were done. If they needed to eat just probably one roti, and until they were 2 years old, it was one roti. But if this amount of vegetables and protein and the dal and everything goes in, and I'm okay with it, as long as we're maintaining a balanced nutrition. They're not eating processed foods and junk foods. So our bodies are actually designed in a way that it tells us, hey, stop eating. But what happens is, over a period of time, we tend to feed more, and so the babies don't understand, I'm full, but I actually have to eat more. So we tend to sort of build in certain habits very unconsciously into our lifestyle. So that is one. So that is one of the changes sort of that we need to sort of break in and understanding that when your body is full, when you're satiated, that is when you're satisfied that I've eaten enough. So that is extremely critical and important to understand. And I'm going to share you tips of how you can sort of work towards building an understanding of that. But today, fast forward to our lifestyles today. As I said, desk jobs, we do, maybe some of us exercise, and many of us maybe putting in at least a few thousand steps into our day. Having said that, if our food, 80% of our health is food, comes from the food we eat, what goes into our body, and 20% from fitness, right? That's sort of the general thumb rule which most healthcare practitioners and the fitness practitioners follow. So how do we sort of ensure that we understand that we are not overeating? When some of the times when we overeat is something that it's important to understand the times we tend to overeat, right? One is when we are stressed. When we're very worked up, when we have a lot of work to do, we tend to eat very fast. When we tend to eat very fast, we tend to stuff in a lot more than we can. Okay, so that's one time. Another time is when you're actually eating while working, so which means you have your laptop on and then you are eating while you're working essentially at your desk, which essentially means you do not know how much food goes into you and what you have eaten and how much you've chewed, right? And watching TV is a time when we tend to overeat as well, because especially when you're watching a movie or a long program, you want to keep munching something. And children, starting from children to adults, the amount of screen time that we get while watching TV, some of these things are related to overeating and unhealthy eating habits. So now, going back going back to maintaining and eating mindfully, right? So these are the sort of some of the challenges that we face today, and things that we need to sort of keep in mind. I'm not saying that put away your phone, but yes, at least while eating, keep it away. And if you are in front of your laptop, then shut down your laptop, and if you're on your desk eating at work, just close your laptop down, and you don't have to have a book, but sort of understand what's the food in your lunchbox and then focus on it. Okay, so I'm going to share more tips on mindful eating right now. So with all these processed foods in the market and all of us sort of getting access to easy foods and restaurant deliveries, yes, I do order as well. It's not that I don't order, and it's not that I don't eat, but what I have started doing is maintaining and eating in the right portions. So how do we sort of work on eating the right portions? Going back to the story about babies, that they know when they're done, but today we do not know when. Most of us actually don't know when we're done. We have been inculcated and sort of it's been fed into our brains that we need to eat 4 rotis, we need to eat sambar rice, rasam rice, curd rice, we need to eat X amount of foods in our diet to actually be healthy, but it is not true, right? So let's take a look at it and see how we can focus on eating mindfully, figuring out tips or figuring out ways we can actually work on the portions that we eat. So here's how. So here's something that I've been following for about 3 to 4 years, and you will see that on my website as well, which is archanaskitchen.com, which is called Portion Control Meal Plates. And I'm not counting calories here, okay? And I'm not counting how much food has gone in, carbohydrate, iron, protein, nothing, right? So how much iron is going, how much minerals are going, how much zinc is going. I mean, macros, micros, these come just naturally to our Indian diet. Our Indian diet is predominantly very, very healthy based on the cooking techniques that you use, and I'll come to the cooking techniques in another video. But our diet is extremely healthy. We have our sabzis, we have our dals, we have our salads, we have our grains, which is from the rotis and the rice, right? But amount of how we sort of put everything into our plate through the day is extremely critical. Okay, so here's what I started following. So I bought this plate, and it's called the thali plate. It's available everywhere, right? And this is thalis have been sort of part of our culture and food ever since since many years. This is not in restaurants that you get thalis, but our food generally consists of these many types of dishes that goes into our plate. Always be whether it is in South India, North India, various parts of India, we have katoris to denote various types of dishes. We serve food in katoris to ensure that that's the amount of portion that we're eating. So automatically our diet is actually very constructed in such a way that a number of dishes that you need to sort of add into your diet fits into this plate. So let me just take you through this. So how do we sort of ensure that this plate gets filled with the foods that you need to eat so that it goes into your diet? And how do you sort of ensure that your plate is colorful, or your lunchbox for that matter is colorful as well? At least one meal a day, focus on this, and the rest of the meals sort of follow through once you start making this particular one meal a day habit. So always start with one meal, and that's pretty much what I do. So how do we sort of construct this plate really well? To eat mindfully in a very satiated way. You don't need more than what is served on this plate. So yes, it doesn't mean I'm just going to bulk it up, but here's what I do. So I ensure that one portion of this plate always has some sort of raw food or a salad, right? So by raw food, I mean grated carrot, tomato. Just take Indian salads, right? Salads are not complicated. Anything like your lacha pyaz, add some grated carrots to it, grated beetroot to it, grated lauki to it. Any sort of vegetable that goes in raw, can be eaten raw. Just grate it. Add some salt, green chilies, tadka if you want, and then make it chatpata. So make your salad, okay? Have some raw food every day. So that goes into one side of it. And the other is your dal, or your protein, or your sundals, or your kota. Let me sort of go through all the different types of proteins that can go into this. Like for example, dals across India, most of us, whether you go to North India, we have Lauki Chana dal, or you have Turiya Magni dal in Gujarat, or you have your Bengali and Karela Chana dal, Cholar dal. They also have Lodi Tator, which is like a Karela into the sabzi, or any type of dal has some dal palak, kira sambar, koot, purucha koot, podlanga koot, moong dal gasi. So the gasis which has dal in it. So every region of India has a particular kind of dal which has a vegetable into it. So try to incorporate some type of dal which is wholesome, add some vegetables into it, and then that is like one sort of vegetable that goes into it. So you have your dal here, and then another thing could be another vegetable which is stir fried, wholesome, not deep fried, anything from your patta gobi sabzi, aloo methi, aloo palak, whatever it is, name it, raw banana, pumpkin, kaddu, beans, carrot, poriyal, thorns, right? So we have a variety of dishes that we can actually incorporate into these trees, and which we have been doing since time immemorial. So that constitutes. And then when you actually fill these 3 plates with a salad, with a dal and your vegetable, you'll notice that you will not be able to consume more of what goes into this section, which seems to be the largest section of our thali and plate, because that's where people sort of fill up, saying that I need to fill this up. If I don't have a lot of this, then it's not good. That's the mindset. So we need to get out of that mindset. So if you actually have a plate like this and sort of put dishes into this, you'll say add 1 roti, and then start with 1 roti and start with like a katori of rice, right? So I'm just saying, so it depends upon the size of your roti. Make it big roti so it feels like as if you're having enough food. But believe me, try this. So, and then you just put this plate down and you say, okay, family, this is what we're going to eat for today, and make that many portions only, so that if you're a family of 4 or a family of 2, and you fill up that plate and you shut down all your gadgets, all the books, newspapers, computers, TVs, sit on the table and just focus on your food. Eat mindfully. This is mindfully, right? By removing all distractions and just enjoying the taste, the textures of all the delicious spices and of all the beautiful Indian cuisines that we have in our in India. So just enjoy them, just mindfully eat them, and eat it slowly. Chew your food slowly, and you will notice that the moment you just eaten like just this much, you would be full. You would literally be full, because you're eating with no distractions, and you've actually filled up your plate with a wholesome, nutritious food, from salad to dal to a sabzi and a roti. And I typically, if it's a roti, I don't have rice. If there's rice, I don't have roti. So I'm not telling you to go and get some quinoa and things like that, but just put things in your plate, and that's it. That's all is required. And if you feel you need, after eating mindfully, and you feel, I'm actually good, this feels light and nice, and I'm feeling refreshed, and I'm not feeling sluggish, The moment you start feeling sluggish after a meal, which we do, like especially me after I eat like a nice biryani with raita, and I'm like, I need to take a nap, but that's fine, right? So, but what is important is that we're feeling light. And another most important thing is, my yoga teacher, I've been practicing yoga for many years, and as I was growing up, and he used to keep telling us, and my mom, right? For me, I used to be a passive listener. Whatever my mom says, I used to eat. But here's what he used to say, and it still sort of stays in my head. You need to eat. Your stomach has only that much space, right? So you need to keep some amount of food, eat just that much amount of food that is required. And to understand that is very hard for a human body, because we've been trained to eat differently. So eating in this type of a plate, or portioning your food, so that you have various different food groups present in your plate, and some amount needs to be for air, and some amount for water, which goes in like about 30 minutes to an hour after your meal, right? So this is extremely important, to keep that space. So only then your food has all your organs have the space to digest it, release the right amount of juices that it needs to sort of digest your food, send signals to your body. So there's a lot of complex things that happen in our body when we are eating food. From the moment you start eating slowly and mindfully without any distractions, the body actually gets enough time to send the signal to the brain, the gut to the brain, to say, okay, I'm chewing food, I'm releasing some liquids, okay, the body is getting some food, and the mind is saying, okay, I'm actually getting full. The food has slowly begun its digestion process, and the juices are getting released. So you need to take that time to eat your food, right? Eat slowly. That has been one of my biggest challenges ever to practice. And I know that there are days that I just go by just eating a meal in just like 5 minutes. I'm looking at my dabba and I'm like, oh my God, my meal is done. And that's something that I've been working on, and I continue to work on. But what I have done is sort of portioned my meals, eating mindfully. So guys, so as we, are in this fast-paced world where we have a lot of work to do, we seem to have less time in our hands. We need to create time for our health. We need to, at least one meal a day, focus on what goes into your body. Prepare your meal in your kitchen or with a help or anything, however is your style of sort of making the food at home. But get that meal done. Ensure all the food groups that you need, from vegetables, some raw food, some protein, some dal, right, and some grains, right? Could be your foxtail millets, or your ragi muddes, to your roti, to a jowar bakri, to a debras, to your puri, for that example. If you want to eat a puri in the weekend, eat just 2 puris. Be mindful about it. Fill your plate up with a salad, because puri is deep fried food at the end of the day. So how do we sort of not over binge on it? The trick to do that is to ensure that you finish all your vegetables first, your raw foods first, and when you do that and eat slowly, your body and the gut tells your brain that you're halfway full already. So, and then you have to eat your puri, and then you'll say, oh, I'm done good, I had a good meal, and I ate my puri as well. So these are some of the tips. So now going forward, I will continue to sort of share some tips with you as we do more such videos. It's important to be really mindful about it. Snack healthy. Eat when you're hungry, when you feel like eating something sweet, pack your pantry or your office snack box with some dates, figs, walnuts, and almonds. These are extremely nice and tasty if you have to develop a taste for it, and it also gives you that instant sugar and instant nutrition and instant satiation to the mind, saying that I've got that energy. That's something that I've started practicing. If I'm hungry, go pick up 2 dates, right? So avoid foods that have a lot of sugar in it, because they're very, very harmful when taken in excess, right? So small things like this we need to keep in mind, and I hope you found this video useful. Eating mindfully and is about ensuring that and in right portions is extremely critical for good health. Lots of research on the internet. Just search for portion controlled foods without counting calories. It's about satiation, it's about mindfulness, it's about ensuring that we focus our efforts and thoughts on what goes into our body, right? At the end of it, nobody's going to take care of you. You have to take care of yourself. You don't want to be paying huge hospital bills, right? So for the lifestyle diseases that you've caused on your own with your lifestyle habits. So just focus on your meal, at least just one meal, starting today. Think about what you're eating. Think about right now, what are you eating right now as you're watching this video? If you are watching this video and eating, then stop eating, just watch this video and then eat after you finish watching this video, right? So precisely that. So it's very, very critical that we take this seriously. Avoid distractions, eat mindfully, start today and let me know what you are doing. How are you planning to make that change starting today? Include one raw food, include a healthy snack, avoid, I'm not saying if you're eating junk, then watch samosa, maybe one samosa. How many samosas did I eat this week? Maybe I can cut down to one samosa a week because it's there in my office canteen, or if it's, I'm craving for some street food. Yeah, it's allowed. It's good. I live to eat, but watch that samosa, right? Eat that samosa really slowly, mindfully. Just enjoy every morsel and every crispness that comes from it, right? Enjoy that samosa without guilt. Just eat it beautifully, mindfully, and then just one slowly, right? So that you're aware of what your mind, as I said, your gut is able to convey to the brain the amount of food that has gone in. So if you're eating your chaat, chole tikki chaat, eat it, but eat it mindfully. You can make it at home, you can make it, or you can eat it outside, but eat it mindfully, eat it slowly. Eating your pani puri, take it one step at a time. Tell the pani puri wala to tell you, give it to me slowly. I'm going to eat only one plate, but give it to me slowly. Let me do that slowly. So everything that you're doing, be mindful, be slow, understand what goes into your body, and then evaluate, okay, where am I in my day today? What can I add to make my health better? These are very, very simple things to understand. So I hope you can begin this practice, and I'm going to end my video today, and I hope you found this video helpful. It's about mindful eating and eating in the right portions, and do share your feedback, your love, your comments, and how you are practicing mindful eating starting today, or if you're already practicing eating mindfully and in the right portions. Message me in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, happy cooking and healthy eating.